Hello lovies and welcome back. I am your host Vicky with Kitchen Alchemy and we are at episode 21. Now you guys, a couple of things before we get started. Number one, you will notice on episode 20, I held up this ingredient and asked you if you could guess what we were making the next video. If you guessed oxtail, you were correct. However, guys, I'm gonna keep it 100,000% honest with you guys. Oxtail was so expensive, I just could not afford enough of it to make the video. So we're going to save that for another time. However, I have another beautiful recipe for you guys today. We will be making a squash noodles pasta with lamb meatballs and all the fixings. It's gonna be super delicious. So that's number one. And then number two, you guys, again, life has been lifing. Thank you for being patient with us during this other break. We've had so much going on outside of YouTube off camera. So look forward to sharing with you what we've been up to and what we have coming up in 2024. But enough of that. Today's sponsor, Spicewalla. Shout out to Spicewalla, based out of North Carolina. If you guys are interested in recreating your own everyday culinary magic at home, be sure to check the link in the description for a code off of your first purchase. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, you guys, so before we even begin prepping our ingredients for today's dish, you wanna make sure to go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then also go ahead and get yourself a pot of water. I added a little bit of avocado oil and green salt to the mix. That is to cook our noodles. So get those things in line first. If you have a blender or a food processor, you're gonna wanna take that out as well. And now we will begin to prep our ingredients. As always, the full list of ingredients will be in the description below, so be sure to check that out. After you cut your squash in half, this particular squash are part of the gourd family for the aspiring gardeners out there like myself. And this is a spaghetti squash. We're gonna roast it. After you cut it in half, we're gonna scoop the seeds out like so, being pretty firm with the pressure, which you're holding the spoon. Don't be too dainty. And guys, please be careful when you're cutting these squash, whether it's butternut, spaghetti squash, any kind of squash. I don't want you to slice your fingers. So please be careful. In case someone asks me, and let's say you try this recipe out and you just cannot cut the squash in half, you can roast the squash whole. Stab the exterior with a very sharp knife, just a little bit. Roast it whole in the oven for about an hour, and then you can cut it in half when it's soft. So in this bowl, you'll see that we have a mixture of a bunch of seasonings. I like to do this before prepping my meals. In this mixture is pretty much everything you see here, all the Spicewalla seasonings. So I'm just gonna give this a good mix. This is the mix for our meatballs, which is about 1 pound of ground lamb meat, but we can just take a tiny bit. I'm gonna steal a little bit of that from the lamb and coat our squash here. And we're just gonna be sure to rub this in. We will be roasting our squash for about 45 to 50 minutes, like so. We will be seasoning this every step of the way, so don't worry about over seasoning it outright. For our spaghetti squash, you wanna lay them cut side down on either foil or parchment paper, and straight into the oven they go. Okay guys, so after you have your onion, your cilantro, you can also substitute with parsley and just see how you like the difference in taste. And then we have our garlic here. We're gonna take about half of this garlic, which would be about 1 tablespoon. We're gonna do 1 generous tablespoon of red onion and 1 tablespoon of our cilantro, as well as 2 tablespoons, which is the rest of what's in this bowl, of our seasonings, and 1 egg. And just for reference, this is 1 pound of ground lamb meat. Obviously, if you have more mouths to feed or you like multiple days worth of leftovers, then of course you want to go ahead and double pretty much everything. Got about 1 tablespoon of our fresh chopped garlic. You can also use the garlic out of the jar if that works better for you. A little bit more because we like garlic. 1 tablespoon of our onion, cilantro. We could be a little generous. And all of our seasoning here. And what do we do next, cameraman?
We mix it up.
Mix it up.
Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up.
That's right. You want to make sure that your ingredients have been thoroughly combined. So I would just really get in there, mix it very well, no less than 60 seconds really, just to make sure everything is thoroughly combined. And then after that, we're making our meatballs here. About 1 tablespoon, this is not an exact measurement, scooping out about 1 tablespoon at a time, making this cupping motion here with the bottom and the top, and just kind of passing it from hand to hand, maybe 4 times. And then still with that cup motion, make little circles to form your meatball. Now, outside of baking, because if you bake, you know measurements are very specific. But when we're cooking meals like this at home, these measurements, including with the seasonings and things like that, it's just a suggestion, it's not a requirement. So do it from the soul. Learn to trust yourself in the kitchen, you know, smell different ingredients, feel things out, see what you like, and you'll begin to develop your own special palette. All right, to the same oven here, we have about 21 minutes left on the clock, which is perfect. We're gonna stick these in for 20 minutes and then check to see if we like the doneness. All right, now that we have both our squash and our meatballs in the oven, we're gonna go ahead, get our water boiling to cook our noodles. The noodles that I chose, these are the wide egg noodles. Absolutely not a must. Some people don't like egg noodles. You can also experiment with fettuccine, spaghetti, pappardelle. You could also try, there's a chickpea pasta from this brand called Bonza, something like that. You guys have probably seen it. They also even have lentil-based pastas out now. So really interesting stuff. Experiment and see what you like. But again, I just added some green salt and a little bit of oil to prevent from sticking. Nine minutes. Poured our finished and cooked pasta into the strainer here. Do not rinse it out. Just gonna add it back to the pot, let it sit, and then we're gonna go ahead and scrape the insides of our squash here and add the scraped innards into the blender. And now you can see why they call this particular one the spaghetti squash. As you can see, it resembles noodles as you scrape it out. All right, so after we have scooped our spaghetti squash into the blender here or a food processor, we're gonna take the remainder of the red onion, the chopped garlic, and the cilantro. We're gonna go ahead and add that to the blender as well. If you are not a huge onion person, then obviously you don't have to use all the rest of it. I'm actually gonna start with, this is about 2 tablespoons of red onion, and we can always adjust to taste. Because remember, you can always add seasoning, but if you overdo an ingredient, you can't take it back. So if you're not sure, or if you just want to be able to more fine tune the flavor, start small and keep building. Next, we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of butter. This is unsalted, grass-fed butter. Take 1 cup of chicken broth here. This can be homemade, or you can purchase a chicken broth concentrate. Add 1 heaping tablespoon of concentrate to a cup of water, and then microwave that until hot. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream here. This is going to thicken up the sauce, bring everything together, and give it a nice texture. And I'm gonna leave just a little bit left here. Just gonna leave a little bit here and add more if needed. Where is my top? All right, lovies. So I think we've got it to the consistency and the texture that we like. Again, What's beautiful about this is that we can layer it and with tons of flavor or as little flavor. I don't know why you want a little flavor, but we can layer it with as much spiciness, sweetness as you like. As you can see, this is a really good texture. Instead of buying it out of a jar, we make it ourselves. And I ended up not using the full cup. So I would say anywhere between 3/4 cup and 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Again, start small just to see how you like the texture. And as you can see, I did not use all of the red onion here. So I've got about a good 2 heaping tablespoons of red onion left that I can save and use for, I don't know, maybe I'll make cameraman an omelet or something later. But this looks good to go. Cameraman loves it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a man down. Man down after taste testing the pasta sauce. Man down. And we're gonna go ahead and transfer this into the pot. Let it simmer with a little bit more herbs, primarily parsley, and then we'll plate. All right, my loves, and this is the complete product. So we have our pasta with our homemade spaghetti squash sauce, lamb meatballs with our onions, herbs, did a little flame torch at the end because y'all know I just like setting things on fire in the kitchen. Don't judge me. And you know what time it is. Cameraman. It's hot. As always, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day, wherever you are in the world, to tune in with me and make delicious food out of everyday ingredients. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I promise you we will get to that oxtail recipe when it doesn't cost a second mortgage. All right, you guys, that's all for today. I will see you very soon. Bye.